Warning: tube amplifiers have lethal voltages inside them. Please do not attempt to build, test, or repair these without understanding and following all safety protocols. Hey y'all! Well, we're going to do probably a pretty long series of videos about building this Elekit TU-8888 push-pull monoblock amplifier. I'm not going to talk about critiquing anything in this series. We're just going to be building it. So let's get busy putting this thing together. So I've installed most of the rest of these audio note resistors. There's one that I'm going to save for later, and it's a special one that is, let me find this guy. It looks like that. That's a high precision one that goes on the grid of the input tube. I'm going to install this one after I get the tube socket soldered in place so they can protect it. So if I set the board down, it doesn't like hammer the end of this resistor and damage it. So we're going to install this guy later. But we're going to solder all these in. And then I think what I'm going to do is populate up all the resistors in the board, because at that point it becomes kind of repetitive. But let me solder in these dozen or so resistors here, and then probably be a good place to wrap up with this segment. And the other thing you're going to hear is me turning on my little ventilation fan. That's to suck away the fumes so that I'm not breathing them while I'm soldering, which is a good idea. So that completes this whole list of resistors. We just did that 120, and like I said, we're going to come back and do this special 1% R2 later on in the process, and we'll know that it hasn't been done because we're going to come back and mark all of this list off. Now the interesting thing I've never seen before, they use these 0 ohm resistors as kind of jumpers, I guess, across the board, and I'm not sure what their reason is for using a 0 ohm resistor. I didn't even know there was such a thing, rather than a piece of wire, but they go in these spots marked with a J and a number. So that's part of this process of doing this section here. And honestly, this is one of the kind of more tedious and time-consuming ones of getting this whole section done. And it's why I'm doing it first, to just kind of get it out of the way. So let me mark all of these off, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then I'm going to get busy finishing up this section 8, and then we'll walk through doing the rest of the components on this main board. So then, like I said, you want to come through and mark off all of the resistors that we just installed off of this list. And now we're going to work off this master list. And again, remember that this R2 is going to be used as a special one. And you may want to put a little star by that one just so you remember that that is going to be a special resistor. But I'm not putting that in now, just to make sure that it doesn't get damaged as we're working on this board, because these other resistors are pretty robust. And so let me populate up all the resistors and then all these J numbered 0 ohm resistors and get this section 8 complete, and then we'll come back and do the Zener diodes, the other diodes, and start working on putting in the solid state components, etc. So this looks like a good place to kind of wrap this segment up. Well, I hope you're enjoying this build series. If you are, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. I got this kit from Victor Kung at VK Music up in Canada. I'll put the link below. And as always, DIY audio is fun. So until the next video, have a nice day.